So I'm on my way to my first legit workout session with my trainer. My first full workout session. Let's assume I actually get through it. I guess I just might not. Yeah, so we'll see how this goes. Actually, I'm running a little bit late, so I did eat a snack bar this time and a little bit of that pre-workout stuff. So hopefully it won't be quite so bad. Video's doing okay today so far. I really am hoping this one does well. I've been hitting a bit of a lull in the channel lately. And that does get scary when that is your source of income. Not just your source of income, but you're paying people. They have a little team around and they're relying on you. There's a lot riding on the channel views staying at a certain level, and it's been dipping down to areas I'm not exactly comfortable with lately. So hopefully we'll see. Actually, this time last year, come to think of it, in May, I had a big dip. So maybe it's a seasonal thing, but I don't know. Maybe it's something that's happening for everybody. I know there's a couple of other YouTubers that I'm friends with that are seeing a bit of a slowdown too. I don't know. Maybe it's just that time of year. Had a lot of comments this morning about my hair. I have been growing it out a little bit. I like the idea of it being sort of a mid-length kind of hairstyle. I don't know if I can even pull it off, but I don't know. You know what? I just kind of felt like growing it out. And I fully admit it's not really working. Especially today, I didn't put anything in it, and it's got this weird part down the middle that it doesn't normally do. My wife is not a fan of it, so she's teamed up with all my commenters, apparently. And it's funny the things that people just focus on in these videos, the things that they just have to look for. And in the tangent cam of the video today, my desk is cluttered. My entire room is a total disaster area. That's something I need to do if I can get around to it today, is clean it up a little bit. But no, I have a jar of peanut butter that's sitting on my desk, and it's for my dogs, because I got 2 dogs, and I'm always in there recording something, either videos or podcasts or whatever, and sometimes you just need a little something to keep them quiet and in line, and peanut butter does the trick. So that's like the dog's peanut butter jar. I swear to God, I got I counted at least 30 comments about the peanut butter jar, and I'm like, okay. And there was one person that actually pointed out the big, giant, to-the-ceiling stack of boxes for Canker Boy. And I was like, what are all those boxes in the background? And I'm like, there's only one person that noticed the mountain of boxes behind me, and everybody else focused on the peanut butter. It's just... people are funny. I wanted to talk for just a second about shaming, or shame in general. By the way, so this is going to be a little bit of a different, I can tell already, this is going to be a little bit of a different video than what I've been doing lately, the whole vlog style thing, because I'm gonna rant for a bit about this, and it's going to go long enough to where I probably wouldn't want to add more stuff to it. It's going to be plenty long as it is. But yeah, so this is more of a rant video. I hope you can appreciate it. Okay, so I got a comment the other day from, this is probably my Thursday or Friday video, where I was at a coffee shop. I included a little shot of me doing some work at the coffee shop, and I guess in that shot was the coffee cup that I was drinking out of, and it was a to-go cup, so it was a little paper cup. And I got a comment from someone that was really disappointed in me for using disposable cups. Why don't you bring in your own cup? Why are you wasting resources? Shame on you! Capital letters, exclamation points. I'm bringing this up as an example. That is not why I am talking about this right now, not that one comment, but that comment is a perfect example of the kind of stuff that I get bombarded with daily on both of my channels. And it's not the criticism, and it's not the rudeness, although I don't care for those too much, but I've always said I'm fine with criticism, I'm fine with disagreement, I'm fine with being told that I'm wrong about something, but it's the shaming of it, the shaming element of it, that bothers me. So, for the record, I do a lot of work in coffee shops, as you've probably seen on this channel, and when I go, if I know I'm going to be there for a while, which I usually am, I get it in a regular cup that it's just a little ceramic cup that I drink and I leave it there. But if I don't know if I'm going to be there very long, or if I know I might need to rush off to go do something, I'll go ahead and get it in a to-go cup. I guess that's what happened that day. So I'm the worst person ever. I'm sorry. I'm sorry I've ruined the planet because I used a paper cup one time and made sure to recycle it afterwards. I cover the topic of plastics on my channel. It's definitely one of those subjects that really, I don't want to say changed my mind because I was already there, but it definitely reinforced my mindset when it came to plastics, especially single-use plastics. I become the recycling Nazi in this household, constantly at my wife's throat about like, throw stuff in the recycling. So I'm on board, okay? I'm there. And I make sure and recycle if I ever use any kind of one-time plastic, and I avoid it if I can. I don't use straws anymore if I can help it. So anyway, point is, I'm not here to defend the fact that I used that cup. I used a cup, and somebody shamed me for it. Now again, if somebody had written a note like, you really got to think about bringing your own cup in there because we really need to cut down on single-use plastics and stuff like that, I would be totally in agreement with you on that. No question whatsoever. But it's the shaming element that gets me. And this shaming element is something, again, it shows up multiple times a day on my channel. Today, the video today was about fast radio bursts. I sort of misstated something in the video. I said that this one particular signal, what was it, like 121102 was the name? FRB 121102. That's what it was. Hello. I stated that it came from the Large Magellanic Cloud about 3 billion light years away. That was a misstatement because the Large Magellanic Cloud is not that far away. It came from the direction of the Large Magellanic Cloud, and I didn't throw that in there. So I got a whole lot of people correcting me on that, so much so that I left a comment and I pinned it to the top. I was like, yep, you guys are right. Should have said that. I misstated. There you go. That happens. But of course, for some people, that's not enough. For some people, they had to comment things like, you call yourself a science educator, you're doing more harm than good, you need to fact check, it took a simple Google search, idiot, stuff like that, right? Shaming. It's not enough for some people, it's not enough to correct or clear the record or whatever, it's not enough to correct. They must shame while they're at it. Now, I've been doing this long enough that I've built up a little bit of armor, mental armor, thick skin. I've developed tools for how to shrug that off. To me, it says more about the person leaving the comment than the person that the comment is directed toward. I think if you feel the need to shame somebody for something, then you're filling some hole inside yourself that you're not able to fill with your own whatever. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. But I wanted to talk about shame because it's just so pervasive online, the shaming is. And I personally have this is a bit of a confession time, I suppose. It's not confession, but it's definitely TMI. I've seen some therapy in my life. I had some therapy. I am very pro-therapy. Didn't used to be. I used to think of therapy as a grift, a big scam because, the person who can tell you that you're fixed is the same person that has a monetary incentive to keep having you come back. And it's not cheap by any means. And I hear people express that opinion or that mindset from time to time, and I totally get it. My framing is off here. Let me adjust. There we go. I totally get that mindset because I used to have it myself. But that mindset has changed for me over the years because I had sort of a traumatic event happen in my life. It was brought on by myself. It was something I did, but it was really hard to deal with. And I totally and completely lost control of my emotions, and I wound up seeing a therapist for the first time. And not just through that, but through my own, reading and research and just kind of exploring mindfulness and that kind of stuff, I came around, did a complete 180 on the therapy thing. I think everybody should see a therapist at some point in their lives. I don't see it so much as someone fixing something. It's more like going to the gym for your brain, for your mind. The same way that we go. I saw a personal trainer today. Did all right, by the way. I survived. I was a little out of breath and I didn't get sick or anything. It was good. She pushed me, but that's her job. Anyway, but that's why we go see a personal trainer, to get our bodies in shape, to get healthy, to be our best selves and put it out there. Zoe, stop. Sorry, she's doing something that's annoying me. But that's why we go to therapy. Dog. That's why we go to. That's why we see a personal trainer. That's why we work out in a gym, keep our bodies in good shape, so that we can be our best selves. That's why you go see a therapist. It's not something that you're getting fixed. It's something you're maintaining. It's something you're developing, and it's a lifelong thing. That doesn't mean you have to be stuck going to a therapist for the rest of your life, but it's something that's good to do. And if not a therapist, then a mentor or some kind of just a person whose opinion you value and who can override your bullshitometer in your head. We all have that bullshit module in our head. We can convince ourselves of absolutely anything. If there's one thing in this world you can't trust, it's this gray matter up here. It will deceive you every chance it gets, and you need some outside source or just a mindfulness practice to keep that in check. Anyway, in the time that I've spent in a therapist chair, something that's been pointed out to me is that I actually do have issues with shame. All of this happened way before YouTube. The fact that YouTube and online comments can be so shaming is just kind of a nice little coincidence. But I personally have had issues with shame up here. And I've read a couple of books on it that the therapist had recommended, and it's a different kind of thing. It's different from being ashamed of like a specific thing that you did. It's just this ongoing, pervasive, overarching feeling of not being good enough. I guess that's the best way I can describe it. That is something I carry with me. I've had it with me my entire life. Clearly, it is not going away. Even with what I've been able to accomplish here on YouTube, and being able to do something that I love for a living and make some decent money doing it, and there's thousands of people out there that seem to like it. Just saying that out loud makes me feel like, oh God, shut up. You haven't done anything. Like, that's what's going on in my head right now as I say that. But the point of me saying that was that, like, no matter how successful I am, no matter what I achieve, I will always have that voice in the back of my head saying, you haven't done enough, you're not good enough, you don't belong where you are. Some of that is considered imposter syndrome, which is a thing. And I suppose I have plenty of that, but it all comes back to this shame that I carry around with myself. I don't know where it came from. Some of the books that I read, it was really interesting. It was talking about how a lot of parents can instill shame in their children. All of this happens when you're super young, like when you're 2 years old and your brain is not working correctly. It doesn't work the way it would now. Like you can't look at the way a toddler thinks and be like, that doesn't make any sense. They're toddlers. Their brain is like, it's still developing. But it was making the point that, like, if a parent, say, ties their son or daughter's shoes for them, like, say, tie your shoes, and they start doing, it's like, here, let me do that for you. Or just does things for the kid, trying to be helpful. The kid, again, with that sort of pre-developed brain, could take that as, oh, they don't think I'm good enough to do that. Oh, they don't think I'm talented enough to do that. They don't think I'm smart enough to do that or to figure it out myself. And it becomes internalized. And all that shit gets locked in when you're 2 years old. And it just never goes away. It's something I just have to manage and deal with and be aware of and work on, but it's never going to go away. I will always have this here. And it wasn't like a specific event that it can be pointed to. It might have just been just the way my parents brought me up. It might have been partly just the genetic wiring in my brain, just the way it is. I've had this conversation with my mom after, this was kind of brought up to me by the therapist, and after I started kind of researching it and working on it. And of course she broke down crying, and I didn't mean it. And I'm like, no. I don't blame you. I don't blame Dad. I had this conversation with him. I don't blame y'all at all for this. I don't think that there's no part of me that thinks that was something you did on purpose. I think you only were trying to help me, whatever it is that whatever things you might have done that might have caused this. I know your intentions were good. I just have taken on this, I don't think it's possible to not screw up a kid. I just don't. If it wasn't the shame thing, it would have been something else. Because again, your brain, when you're 2 years old, just is not functioning properly. It's not thinking things through. And it's just gonna find some way to get something locked in there and get screwed up. So, and I'm kind of talking out of my ass because I don't have any kids, but like I just always thought, like, look, you can't not screw up a kid. All you can really do is give them the tools to untie all the knots that you tied in them later on in life, to give them the strength to be able to undo the damage you've done, or to be able to move on and function through it. And I to my parents' credit, I think they did exactly that. One thing I've always said that my mom gave me that I've always been incredibly grateful for is she has a mindset of, it's okay to make mistakes, just learn from it and move on. The phrase she would always say is like, just chalk it up to experience and move on. Just say it was an experience. And of course, me as somebody who does a lot of writing and I don't want to call myself an artist or whatever, but like to me, it's like I can take whatever horrible thing might come my way, as long as it doesn't kill me, I can use that in the art. I can use that in my worldview and my YouTube or whatever. I can fold that in and do some kind of net positive out of it. It's really just the best you can do. So again, my parents screwed me up, but they gave me what I needed to undo their screw up. And that's all a parent can do. So as far as I'm concerned, my parents were a success. So thanks, Mom and Dad. But the shame is there. It's always going to be there. I will always feel not good enough, no matter what. That's okay. I'm aware of it. I'm aware that feeling is not real. It's just something that's always going to be there. And I just have to kind of work around it or ignore it or, whatever, deal with it. So I guess I'm a bit more sensitive to the online shaming, maybe than other people. I don't know. And when I say sensitive, I don't mean I fall apart every time I see it. What I mean is like I'm just more aware of it. It just stands out to me more. And just from a sociological standpoint or viewpoint, I just find it really interesting that people feel this need to shame others because they do something differently than them, or because they have a worldview that's different than them, or just because they did a thing that this person wouldn't do. I really do think it says more about the person doing the shaming than the person that they're shaming. I don't really have a finale to this rant other than I wanted to just talk about this phenomenon online, this shaming phenomenon. And, I got a comment a while back. I may have already kind of addressed this somewhere, but it was basically somebody that was upset that I don't like interact in the comments as much as they wanted me to. And in the comment there was like this sort of shame thing. Like at the same, it was like, why don't you da 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 da? Why don't you do comments more? Shame on you. They may not have actually said shame on you, but it was definitely an implied thing. Like, you should be doing this. Why aren't you doing this? You're a bad person for not doing this. And I just remember reading that and being like, why don't I go into my comments, maybe look in the mirror, because it's you. That's why. I'm not saying all this to tell everybody, please be good to me, please be nice to me, because I'm a fragile person, I can't take shaming. Like I said, I've dealt with it enough, I'm aware of it enough that it's something I think that I can work with, I can work on, I can deal with. But I know other creators that just can't. Honestly, I mean, there's some people that are just like, I can't bring myself to go into my comments and just take the abuse day after day after day. And it's just, it's one of these things, again, I've said this many times, but until you experience it yourself, you just don't know. I get a lot of people that are like, oh, shut up. It's not a big deal. Just, just ignore those people. It's really not that easy, guy. It's really not that easy. Yes, I get a lot of wonderful comments, and they mean the world to me. And actually, you know what? If it wasn't for the wonderful comments that I get, that's the only thing. Well, it's not the only thing, but it's one of the big things that takes away the sting of the shaming comments that I get. Is people who, get in there and say positive things to me and make me feel makes me feel like I do deserve to be here and that I have earned this, and it just basically counters that shame bullshit in my head that is just never gonna go away. But this is one of those things, everybody's fighting a battle that you don't know about, and this is kind of mine, and it's always gonna be there, and I think I'm winning. So don't cry for me, Argentina. But when you're dealing with other creators, even other people in the comments, like, everybody's got their own bullshit. Actually, so this is another example. I got when I talked about how cold it is at that coffee house, and I was kind of like, yeah, man, I like going there, but it's just so cold and it keeps me from wanting to go. Somebody did make a good point that it was like, you really should talk to them about it because they probably would want to know this. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right. It was kind of lame of me to go out in public and complain about them without actually going to them personally. So I actually sent them an email. And it's funny, the whole email, I was like, look, I know how lame this is. I know you probably get I know what it's like to get ridiculous complaints from people in emails, and I don't want to be that guy. This really is meant to be, hopefully, helpful criticism or feedback, but take this for what it is. Anyway, I did send them what I hope they consider to be a helpful email. And that was a very valid point that person made. Like, yeah, I should have talked to them before I went public with it. I wasn't thinking. It was just, I'm doing a daily vlog, so I just turn on my camera and start talking, and that came out. I'm just trying to find interesting things to talk about, and to me, at that particular point, that was sort of interesting anyway. But somebody else on that same thing was like, basically accusing me of complaining about first world problems, and I remember the line "get a grip" was in there. And I did respond to him, and it was whatever, it was okay. But I just take the look. I know people with a lot of money who are still miserable because they have different problems in their lives. Everybody has their bullshit. That's one of my little mantras. Everybody has their bullshit. Everybody has something in their lives that is a struggle. And that, by the way, the cold coffee house thing, that's not my bullshit. Like, that is not like the biggest problem in my life. It's not a problem at all. It was just something I felt like talking about because I was just trying to find something interesting to say. but I just, you know, he was basically making the argument that, like, yeah, but you've got a good life and you need to stop complaining. I do have a good life, but that doesn't mean it's perfect, and nobody's life is perfect. I mean, the royal family, I'm sure, has horrible situations they have to deal with, but, you know, it's just different from other people. Everybody's got their bullshit. Just understand that. Anyway, I've gone on long enough, and I clearly am just rambling at this point, but I just want to talk about that because I don't know how many other people out there might be dealing with a similar shame situation. And if y'all want to kind of have a little group therapy session in the comments, you can do that. I'm certainly not saying this for you to feel sorry for me, and I'm not saying this for you to get in there and be like, "Oh, Joe, we love you. Don't feel like that." I know, I know, and it means the world to me. It's not something that a comment from any of you is going to fix. It's something that it's just always going to be there, and I just kind of want to, I don't know, shame awareness, if that's what you want to call this. Just be nice to each other. Why do we have to be dicks? Just be nice people. You know, is it that hard? It's not hard. I do it every day. It's actually kind of nice. So that's my message. Don't be a dick, I guess. Yeah, rambled on way too long. I'm not going to add anything else today because clearly this is going to be way too long of a video as it is. So thank you all. Don't know if I say that enough. I don't mean to focus on the negative. I should focus on the positive as well. You guys are amazing, and I'm grateful for every last one of you. Seriously. Hope you guys are doing all right. Hope this week goes well for you, and I don't know. Maybe I'll check in tomorrow. All right, later.